Hello everybody, I am very happy to present you the Bible School online that I'm going to start with this wonderful session. And I believe that personally we are standing in front of the greatest revival humankind, the world has ever seen. I believe personally that your nation will be touched by the Holy Spirit, that every house, every cottage, every village, every city, every town, every home will be visited by the Holy Spirit. And I believe that at least one person will be saved. Why? Because God is on the move. And it is not man-made. It is totally supernatural. It is totally God loves to save his fallen creation and to bring as many as possible into his eternal kingdom and into eternity, taking the people out of the mouth of the devil and bring them into heaven. Like Reinhard Bonnke once said, we are empty hell and we are populate heaven. Hallelujah. So my dear friends, I'm so delighted to share things with you and with many other preachers that are going to join that Bible school. Short preachings, but I believe they will vitalize you and give you strength and mobilize you and will enlighten your spiritual eyes, because God is, I believe, so much more than we have ever experienced. Hallelujah. And there will be so much for us to get a revelation about. And I will start the Bible school with a simple prayer, because God is wonderful. Hallelujah. Let's pray together. Father, in the name of Jesus, we are coming in front of you. Father in heaven, we seek your face in order to obey your will, in order to get to know you, who you are, your personality, your character, your attributes, your will, and your ways, so that we do know we are on the right track. We are on the right way. We are not wasting. We are not going in vain, but we are going to see what you have in store, because we pray, Father, that your kingdom come and your will be done, as it is in heaven, so also on earth. And Lord, I ask you that you, in your grace, in your mercy, in your love, with your faith, with all you are, with all you have, with all what you can do and accomplish, that you enable us to see what has been stored in our spirit through Jesus Christ, through the new birth of our dead spirit that once was blind, but now I see. And Lord, I ask you that you enlighten our spiritual eyes and the eyes of our understanding, that through the Word of God we look into the mirror and see what is stored in our spirit, that our spirit will be reflected into your Word, and that we see that is what we have got, what we received in Christ Jesus. Father, I thank you for the equipping of the saints, for the equipping of the leaders, so that we will be examples for the body of Christ, for the leaders, reflecting Christ in all its humility and strength and power, not misusing our position, our trust that you have given us, whatever it might be. But Lord, we look for you. And we are waiting upon you so that you can talk to us and change our lives according to your pleasure. In the mighty name of Jesus, Father, we pray. Amen. Hallelujah. Oh, what a glory. What a glory. By the way, the glory is the presence. The presence is the person of God. So the glory of God is the presence of God. The presence of God is the person of God. The person of God is the attribute, his character, his names, his will, his desires, his thoughts, his longings, his dreams that he wants to share with us. In Psalm 25, just go with me, I just get reminded on it. Psalm 25. It says there in verse 14, the secret, God's hidden thoughts, his deepest desires, his longings is with those who worship him. Hallelujah. Who fear him, who respect him, who humbly seek him, who allow him to touch us, to change us, to make us hearing, to make us seeing, to make us understanding what he has in heart. To look into his deepest desire, to look into his heart. And that is what he wants. He is longing to reveal himself unto his friend, his friends. He is looking at you and he says, you are my friend. You are my covenant partner. You are my son and my daughter. You are my glory. I love you, he says the Lord, because I gave my son Jesus Christ for every human being. And it says there, and he will show them his covenant. God is a covenant God. Once he finds a person who can make a covenant with that person, everything that what belongs to God, what he is, what he has, what he can do, what he can perform, all the riches, there's no limitation in God because he is the source of everything. All that he is, he wants to reveal to his covenant partner. And all what I have, I give to him. I say, Lord, I have nothing, I have not much. But what I have, I want to give to you. And this is my heart, my life, my willingness, my obedience. My mind, my soul, my emotions, my will, my everything I have, Lord. Please take this as an acceptable sacrifice. I want to get to know your covenant, your names, and to see your glory coming down, your anointing to set the captives free. Lord, I remind myself that in you, and it says here, who is the man that fears the Lord? Him shall he teach in the way he chooses, and his descendants shall inherit the earth. Psalm 25, 12, 13, 14. And in verse 15 it says, my eyes are ever toward the Lord. Hallelujah. My eyes are ever toward the Lord. Like Like David says, one thing I have desired, to be in your holy temple, where your beauty lives, and to gaze upon the beauty of the Lord, to be satisfied in my soul with your love, God. And please, my dear friends, pastors, ministers of the gospel, let's go with me to Ephesians chapter 1. The Apostle Paul is praying a prayer that will surprise you in such a way that you never believed it was possible. He was in heaven. He saw the crucifixion, the burial, the death, the resurrection, and the ascension into heaven, sitting beside the right hand of God, beside the Father. The Gospels shows us Christ's life from the outside. The epistles of Paul are the X-ray of what happened to Christ in the Spirit. The Gospels reveal Christ's ministry, what he did, what he could do, what he was able to do, because he was under the total obedience unto the Father. He said in John, the Gospel of John, that the Son of Man cannot do anything by itself. But all I do, says Jesus, I hear my Father speaking and I see what my Father shows me. He was in total dependency. And he says, my Father is working and so is the Son. And that is something so important. Many times we have taken the word out of its context, we made the logos into a rhema which is not rhema yet. Because the logos is giving us the understanding of all the spectrum, what God has done in history with people. But the rhema is the personal word into your spirit. A specific word for a specific person into a specific situation in order to see the miraculous creative power being released in and through a person that has been touched by God. God picked you, spoke to you, and now you are in the creative business. But only when God speaks, not just I take something. What God has not ordered, He does not pay. Hallelujah. But what God is ordering, He is paying. He is supporting. He is coming with His anointing, is backing it up with heaven and with all His dignity, with all His personality. And you will see the miracles that God would perform through Jesus if He would be on earth through you. Hallelujah. So let's go quick. In Ephesians 1:15 it says, therefore, I also, after I heard of your faith in the Lord Jesus and your love for all the saints, I do not cease to give thanks for you, making mention of you in my prayers, that the God of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of glory, may give you the Spirit of wisdom, what to do, when to do, how to do, in what way. And the spirit of revelation, to take away the veil that has been covered, that we have not seen, so that we come to the right knowledge of God. The wrong knowledge will always bring people and yourself in disappointments. The right knowledge of God will always bring us into faith, and faith will never put us into shame. Faith that is born of God will always produce fruit, and these fruits are divine. Many believers have shipwrecked their faith because they have put their trust in wrong expectations that were not spoken by God. It might be spoken in common in the Logos, but it was not spoken specific into their lives. And that is so important to understand. Lord, give us, Holy Spirit, give us a spirit of wisdom and revelation, so that the eyes of my understanding being enlightened, that my spiritual eyes being enlightened, so that you may know what is the hope of his calling, what are the riches of his glory, of his inheritance in the saints, and what is the exceeding greatness of his power. The Holy Spirit's power that was in the beginning when God created heaven and earth, that moved mountains, that changed kingdoms, that raised Christ from the dead, that is exceeding greatness of his power toward us who believe according to the working of his mighty power, which he worked in Christ when he raised him from the dead and seated him at the right hand in the heavenly places. In verse 19 it says, this mighty power that is moving now in the saints. This enormous third person of the Trinity, the Holy Spirit, is moving inside of you and renewing, destroying, delivering, healing, working strong. That's what God wants to do in your life. And this power is the same power that rose Christ from the dead and seated him, in verse 20, in the heavenly places at the right hand of the Father, far above all principalities and powers and might and dominion and every name that is named, not only in this age, but also in which to come. And he put all things under his feet and gave him to be the head over all things, which is the body of Christ, the church, which is his body, the fullness of him who fits all in all. We are living in the time where God is going to prepare a bride that is holy, sanctified, and pure, totally committed to the bridegroom, ready to do his will, being filled with the glory in every nation where you are right now. And that is the prayer I want to give to you when you start this Bible study and you want to listen, that you pray this prayer every day. Lord, Father, God in heaven, give me, please, the spirit of wisdom and revelation. Let me come to the right understanding of your word, the right understanding of your person, your personality. Lord, let me know you, not your works only, but who you are. Let me see your presence. And this is the beginning of a beautiful journey, because we need to be strong in him. And we have to be honest in our lives. Lord, I do want to be changed into your likeness, so that you will be glorified forever and ever. And I am prepared for the return of you, Jesus, so that my life is ready to enter into the eternity that you have prepared. And one day I will worship you day in and day out. And I glorify you with all the angels, with all the saints, with all the elders. And you will be the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Seeing Jesus in his beauty, together with God, the Holy Spirit, Jesus Christ, and enjoying eternity. And beside that, I brought with me millions, thousands, hundreds of new converts. People that wanted to get saved because of my purity, my commitment, my obedience, and my life. In Jesus' name, amen.